Welcome back to the channel. So today I thought we could do a little demo of some facial massage, a very basic facial but not a full facial, but based around what I did when I had some microneedling, and as it was healing, and it healed completely normally, your skin does feel a bit dry and dehydrated for a few days, and that is not because of the microneedling, it's because of the products that you've got to use in the few days afterwards. So you're being so careful with your skin and you're putting on these products that are so specific to helping it to recover that for me, maybe not for everyone, but for me, I felt quite dry and dehydrated for a few days, especially around here and the chin and also a bit in the forehead. And the reason why I'm using my model is that quite often males, obviously females too, just anyone, whatever gender, can sometimes feel that they don't know how to tackle some dryness. So what I did was I just made up my own little routine with some products, two that I've been gifted and one that I purchased. You'll recognise them from the channel. And I thought, right, what have I got basically in the kit that can help to hydrate this area, can help to basically break down any of the dry skin that needs to be removed in the most gentle way possible without irritating the skin, without interfering. When you have microneedling, there are so many things you can't do. You can't use acids, you can't use perfumed products, all the things that you would expect to be told after a non-invasive but invasive to a point treatment, because you're making lots of little punctures in the skin. But as I say, I'll speak to you about the microneedling soon. I've only had one, so I'll talk to you when I've had a few of them and we can talk about how I feel that's developed. But so far so good. So if you've got lots of dryness and you just feel as if it's getting you all down, then the first thing that I suggest that you do is find a really good oily cleanser. Now you might think this is crazy, but what I went for, which is the last thing I was told to wear, was actually a makeup remover that was oily. And this is the Cat Burki one. Now, what you might remember from the Cat Burki video is that a lot of the prices can be on the more premium side, but what you get for this oily makeup remover will actually last you so long, maybe even a year. Now, obviously, we don't have any makeup on here, but the reason why I thought it was effective for me is because of all the high quality nourishing oils that are in it. So rather than using it to break down makeup, I'm actually going to use it to do quite an in-depth, slow cleanse using a lot of massage moves, and that's going to help to start to hydrate the skin, but also start to lift any of the dry skin cells that are sitting making the skin look dry and dehydrated, start the process of starting to lift them so we can remove them with future steps in the facial. So we'll put this on and start doing our facial massage cleanse. So I've only got about 4 or 5 drops of this on, but I'd say any cleanser that your skin can tolerate that is more of an oily based one or an oil. As I say, this is a makeup remover, but I just find it so effective for really hydrating the skin, and also if you've got that dryness, if you can actually see the flakes, then to just spend some time doing some cleansing movements with this and really breaking it down. And then the theory is that when we wash it off, when we remove it, we're starting the process of taking away those dry, dead skin cells. So I'm just covering the skin. I'm expecting erythema, but I'm so impressed with this product. And now all I'm going to do is just work on the areas that I know hold on to those old skin cells, or if you see any areas where you can actually see the dryness. And this isn't about doing a facial massage routine. This is about working instinctively on your own face to loosen off those dry skin cells. And for me, with the microneedling, as I say, I've only had one. It was about 2 weeks ago. And if you remember, if you watched the video about me having the biopsy on my nose and everything was fine, thank you, I'm pleased to hear that, is just a little scar that was left behind. I was just curious to know if there was anything I could do for that. And it is a minimal scar. And the suggestion was some microneedling. So they wouldn't just do all that for your nose, so they do your full face and your neck. But just for a few days afterwards, I felt the dryness, and that's because of what you have to avoid mixed with what you have to use. So just working on the skin. As I say, I'm not doing a facial, I'm not doing a routine, I'm just feeling for areas where I want to loosen these dry skin cells or any visible flaking. And there isn't really anything here today, but as you know, there can be times, different seasons, different products, if you're feeling stressed, where you can see on your skin or on other people's skin where they do have dry patches. But today's more about the demo of it all. But I can see we've got a nice erythema here. So because I'm not doing a full facial, I'm not worried about covering all the areas as you would do normally. This is just replicating what I did just to help myself. So once you've spent a few minutes doing that, you can either use sponges, which again might be even more beneficial because the sponges would help to remove the dead skin cells more effectively. But I'll just go by the instructions. I've just got the damp cotton wool. I'm not working down the neck today. I'm just keeping it purely to the face just to demo this. So just remove this. Now remember, these are instructions to remove makeup. But I'm using this oil because I think it was fabulous for helping me to get that hydration back in. So it's my new favourite product. I'm really impressed with it. Although having said that, I've got 2 others that I'm also loving and I'm impressed with them too. So then I'll move on to the second step that I did, bearing in mind it had to be a few days after I'd been given the all clear to use gentle products again. So remember, if you're interested in the podcast that I did with Kat Burki, that's still available on the channel or Spotify. And then the second product was gifted to me. So that first product was gifted. This one was gifted. This is the Sisu, the biocellulose sheet masks. Now, I was so impressed with these. Again, the podcast is on with Dr. Brian, either on the channel or on Spotify. Now, these are a new product created by Sisu Clinics, and what I thought was fascinating about these was that they came at the perfect time for me. They hydrate overly parched skin, and the reason why I was like, hello, is that it couldn't have been a better time for me for how my skin was feeling. So I used one prior to the microneedling, and then I used one maybe about 4 or so days afterwards, and it was so effective because it was exactly what my skin needed. So you get a box of 5. I'll put a link to the website. I was surprised at how economical it was. When I say that these were saturated, I mean it. I'm going to open it right now as we talk. So they hydrate overly parched skin. I can honestly say that was the case. They also say that they rejuvenate and tighten instantly, brighten and even the skin tone. But for me, what was very effective was that it was saturated with product. That's exactly what I needed. And because it was saturated with product, it meant that I could actually just sit back, relax. They say about 15 minutes. I probably did about 30 minutes. And I could just allow all of that product just to hydrate the skin. And then whatever's left over, you can just massage in. Now look at this. It is so generous with the amount of product. I've not used a lot of sheet masks, but the ones that I've used, the Korean ones, I was impressed with. And then, of course, this one, I thought they really did put their money where their mouth was. So this is going to go onto the skin. I'm sure you all know how to use a sheet mask. You just find the gaps for where the eyes, the nose and the mouth can comfortably be exposed. This one does grip the skin. I know that one of the complaints can be sometimes they feel as if they're going to slide off. But this one really does feel as if once it's on, it's on. I still don't think, because it's so saturated, I don't think you'd want to be going about the house wandering from room to room because it's so soaked with product. but just to be able to sit back and relax. And I think a nice touch just to begin with is just to gently massage it almost into place. And now we're just going to leave it for its 15 minutes, and it's a good chance to sit back, relax, and let that really hydrate the skin. As I say, they say it's for parched skin. That's how mine, a bit dramatic. It didn't feel parched, but it looked it just while it was settling down from the treatment. So let's give this its 15 minutes and then see how the skin's looking. Right, so our time is up, and it honestly feels as if you could use it all over again. So I'm going to remove this, and you'll see that there's product on the skin. But what I'm going to do is actually just allow it. You can either allow it to absorb in and let it take its time, or you can massage it in. So that's what I'm going to do just now. Just spend a little bit of time just using effleurage and stroking movements just to let it sink into the skin. And all of that product is helping to hydrate the skin. Nothing is going to waste. I'd love to know if you use sheet masks. That has actually converted me because I wasn't against them. And again, that's a biodegradable one. If you listen to the podcast, everything about it has been, honestly, they've taken so much time with it. They've thought it through. If it wasn't the best they could do it, then they wouldn't compromise, which is why they said it took so long to bring to the market. But I'd love to know if you use sheet masks and what you find effective for them. So that's almost there sinking, and I'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll apply product number 3. Now the final product is something that I purchased, and this was the absolute best advanced serum. I was interested to try this after my chat on the podcast with Angie Best. If you've not heard it yet, she's so interesting because she worked in the 70s up to present day in the fitness and health and wellness industry. She is quite professional about it, but it's on record that she's personal trained Cher. She's worked with Sharon Stone, Daryl Hannah, more and more Hollywood people. So when she says that something works, it's because she's had to prove at Hollywood A-lister level that it actually works. Now, she talks a lot on the podcast about CBD, and what's interesting about this product is that she is on board with organic, but she's also very much about keeping it to the bare minimum with the ingredients, and she doesn't like using unnecessary chemicals. And with this serum, there are only 6 ingredients. So I'll read them out. It's niacinamide, hyaluronic acid, colloidal gold, aloe vera gel, squalane, and CBD. So I told her on the video that I hadn't used CBD apart from a product that I've used on and off. Why the name has just escaped me, but Ohana, that's it. Jasmine's, one of the earliest podcasts that I did was with Jasmine from Ohana, and her oil was lovely and it had some CBD in it if I remember correctly. So I've used that on and off for years. So I've got some of the serum on my hand. It's very light. You can see it there. I'll just pop the bottle down. And I wanted to try this. It's got no scent. I wanted to try this because how many people would actually bring out a product that only has 6 ingredients, and each one is purely because they felt that it was necessary to the product. So I was interested to try it. I knew that I wanted to use a product that wouldn't inflame the skin. It was all about trying to minimise any dryness, because I don't get dry. So when I had that dryness, it was so unusual for me, and I thought, right, we're getting rid of this. And that's how simple this serum is to use. I prefer to pat it in because, again, I was just looking for the least, what's the word I'm looking for? Didn't want to aggravate the skin, didn't want to create any erythema where it wasn't necessary. I knew that when I was cleansing, I would be boosting the circulation. I also knew that the mask might boost the circulation, might cause an erythema. It didn't. It was the opposite. It was extremely soothing and cooling. And then with the serum, it was just all about finishing off. I'm calling it a facial in the loosest terms. It was just 3 steps to get rid of that dryness. But the absolute best product. I like it. It's too soon to give you feedback on how the skin feels because I only got it a week ago. But it's very nice. It's doing what she claimed it would do. Regarding CBD, that is so new to me. But I was fascinated with what Angie had to say. And for trying the first product, I like it. So that's my 3 steps that I used to get rid of the visible dryness that I had. That was temporary, but it was there and I wanted it gone because it's not a normal thing for me. I tend to be more on, if anything, the oily side. So I wasn't having that. I thought, right, we need to get this dealt with. And those 3 products helped me significantly. So let me know how you deal with dryness when it appears. Is it something that you have to deal with all the time? Is it something that just appears when you're under the weather or you've had a treatment or a reaction? It's interesting to know because our skin lets us know when something's changed or something's off or something's needing attention. But I hope you found that useful. Let me know your thoughts. Have a lovely day and I'll see you again soon.